Welcome to the For Real Though Show, the podcast with a purpose for the people. My name is Christopher Keith, your host. Yo, it's been a long time, hasn't it? It's been a long time for various reasons, uh, which I'm sure you don't care about, so I'm not going to get into them. Let's just say I'm glad to be back. Yeah, I've been really grinding a lot and lots of stuff going on in life. Life be lifing. But again, this is a labor of love, so I'm glad to be back. Glad to be communicating with you all and actually just sharing stuff that's important to me. So, hey, welcome. Thanks for joining me. As you know, we're brought to you by Queso What? And we'll be talking about them a little bit later. Best quesos in the world. You know what time it is there in St. Charles now. We have a restaurant, actually a restaurant open. We'll give you more details about that. So, we're going to jump right into it. Today's episode is basically dealing with Black MAGA. Black MAGA and the intellectually dishonest. So, if you guys don't mind, I'm just going to be transparent and let you know that I'm trying not to make this a real formal podcast, if you will. This is really just to help cleanse me of some filth and bullshit that I've been kind of holding in for several months since the election, and I kind of want to get it off my chest. Hopefully, if I shed it all, then I can kind of be done with it and just kind of move on. Because every time some stuff happens, it kind of just brings me back to some of these arguments I've had and some of these discussions I've had with people who just won't be intellectually honest about things. And, like one thing about me, good, bad, or indifferent, I tend to give people the benefit of the doubt. And what I've learned is that for some people, some ideologies, like there's no reason to give them the benefit of the doubt because no amount of information or what have you is going to change their mind. And don't get me wrong, it doesn't mean that they don't know or think that you're actually right about the thing that you're saying. They're just not going to admit it. So, so in this particular case, I'm not dealing with white folks. I'm not dealing with white folks at all. Uh, they're gonna find out because I mean, we already know just historically that is. Let me pull this quote up. See, I'm just gonna kind of freestyle here a little bit. I got some notes. I got some things I want to cover, but I'm gonna freestyle a little bit too, just to make sure you know where I'm coming from. Because we cool now. We just laid back. Here we go. This is from Lyndon B. Johnson. Now, let me see if I can find this date that he actually said this. Uh, don't worry, the date is not important because it's the message that's just as relevant today as it was before. President Lyndon B. Johnson said, if you could convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you picking his pocket. Hell, he'll give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Let me read that again. If you could convince the lowest white man he's better than the best colored man, he won't notice you picking his pockets. Hell, give him somebody to look down on, and he'll empty his pockets for you. Now, again, I don't have the year. That was in the 60s, though. And as true as it was then, as true as it is now. So, that being said, that's why I'm not dealing with white folks. I'm dealing with black folks, black MAGA in this case. And, to a degree, I'm going to use somebody I know personally as an example of this. I'm not going to say this person's name because, number one, it's not a personal thing between me and the person. I will say in disclosure that it is a relative. Uh, it's a relative, but again, I won't say the person's name because again, that's not important. But he solidifies this attitude, which I was really surprised about. But it is what it is, and so anyway, I'm going to talk to you about it. what I come to find at is that it's kind of like these Mexicans and stuff, or Latinos and Mexicans that are finding out, like they thought that when Taco was making all these promises to them about how he was going to get the other get the other man, that they thought it was just the other man, it wasn't going to be them. And so they having that FAFO moment, right? And so let me start by saying, so I'm gonna read a series of texts, kind of jump around them, okay? So this particular relative, when the election was happening and Taco won, there's actually some reasons to believe he didn't really win, but there was some shenanigans going on with the machines in some of these states. If you want me to help you to that, drop me an inbox or something. I'll send you some information on that. I'm not belaboring that point. It's not the point of this podcast, but I'm just saying. I just got to throw it out there because it's relevant. But anyway, um, when Taco won, this person who's a relative was like on his Facebook page was talking about, hey, make America great again. He was celebratory, he was happy, and he expressed that on his personal page. So, and just full disclosure, me and this person we was pretty cool, young, he's a young person, and he's pretty cool. We were pretty cool. And I can't say that we are now. And I'll tell you why later, but we have talked about all different kinds of subjects. You know what I'm saying? Like all different kinds of subjects. Sports, uh, family, and everything, right? So it ain't like this is all we talked about. We had a relationship beyond talking politics. So anyway, so I asked him on his page, I don't remember what it was. He unfriended me, so I don't have access to go back to look at what exactly I said to him, but it was something dealing with. This was like, I don't remember what month it was, but it wasn't too long after January because Taco was in the midst of deporting a bunch of people. And, it was like doing the Abreu Garcia thing where people was looking at tattoos and shit like that and determining that a person was a criminal, which, he was all on that. So after that, so I posted something on his page challenging him, or not really even challenging, just question him, say, hey, man, are you good with this? Is this what you bargained for? And so this is some of the things I've gotten back. Again, I'm sorry, I can't say exactly what I said, but it was something related to what Taco was doing. So I'm going to read some of this. Yo, I'm not going to play argument tag because I'm bigger than that. I told you where I stand. Nothing you send me or tag me in is going to change that viewpoint. I don't need or owe you any response on Facebook. And the fact that you're still trying to push the button says a lot more about how you can handle a difference of opinion than anyone else. Fear-mongering videos of politicians ain't changing my point of view. So stop tagging me in this BS. Examples because you disagree politically. I'm not on Facebook for that. And then this is the kicker right here. This is the one that killed me. You trying to make an example out of me on Facebook because there's family on there. It's weird energy that ain't gonna be matched by my side. So, so I was like, fear mongering? I said, come on, man, don't be a coward. This shit is going on, and I simply asked you if you approved. Obviously, you do. As a man who cannot or does not change based on new information is the biggest problem today. I'm always adaptable. As for family, nah, bro, that ain't my game. I don't show out for people. The reason, I got into some other stuff. So, blah blah blah. I said this for the Facebook thing. The thing about it is, you want to write stuff boldly with your chest out, but refuse to accept feedback you don't want to face. You want a one-way conversation, which is fine. Just say that up front. But you answer my question. That's one thing about MAGA. Facts ain't shit. So he goes, not being a coward, you are calling me out in front of our family instead of coming to read directly. You're trying to garner attention on your page because you know that's where folks politically agree with you. Okay, so let me address that right quick. That's just stupid because number one, how would I be trying to put you on blast? And again, it's not personal. You know what I'm saying? I'm giving you a personal example, but it's not personal. How is it that a person put on there, Make America Great Again, ha ha ha, yeah, 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 I'm loving it, this, that, and the other. Those same family members who you see saw what you wrote. So what are you saying? I'm putting you on blast. You put yourself on blast. If you hadn't said anything on the public media platform, I wouldn't have addressed you on the public media platform. So in other words, it was cool when you wrote it. You was cool. You ain't caring about what the family think. But if I address some facts with you about some shit that's going on, now all of a sudden I'm trying to put you on Front Street. That's crazy as fuck. Oh, let's see. What else we got here? I'm just trying to eliminate the stuff that's not really important. Anyway, I explained to him that, hey man, I'm on the principal side of these things. I ain't tripping off that. But I did say, if you tripping off a family, that's your own insecurities. I don't know if this family is even into what's going on out there like that. I ain't thinking about them. You approved on Facebook in November, before and afterwards. That's part of the platform. You was cool with family saying saying you happily MAGA. You wrote that. What's the difference? You just don't want to push back, or you cool with it, or too lazy to dive in, or too cowardly to change your point of view. You said I was fear mongering. It's facts. That's rhetoric. When people say you're fear mongering, that's rhetoric people use when they can't or won't answer the damn question. I said, but trust, I understand you now. I understand you now. On your page, I would suggest you add a disclaimer. Do not agree with me or bring facts. If you don't agree with me, don't bring facts. This is my page, and no amount of information would change my opinion. Then he says some shit about me being obsessed about getting my point across, blah, blah, blah. Uh, then he asked me, when did I ever come to him personally? And so I gave him two examples of when I came to him personally, didn't say anything about it on Facebook, Instagram, or whatever. Let's see. Then he started talking about nobody is insecure here except because you're thinking about a Facebook post I made weeks ago and still tripping off what I said. You just don't like that I lead politically different. Just because I'm conservative doesn't make me a coward. And if you're preaching that it's bad logic overall, also I'm not lazy just because I don't give you the time of day. That just means you don't deserve an explanation from me because you think you deserve one for whatever reason that may be. I don't need anything explained to me. I see the world differently from you, and you can either accept it for what it is or stay mad about it for future endeavors. Either way, I'm going to live my life. That's like a Colonel Jessup. Either if you know, you know. I'm going to live my life knowing that I could disagree with people's political views and still love them the same as family because isn't that what life is all about? Okay, so that's bullshit. The reason why that's bullshit is because these same family members are the people that your boy Taco said they're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. They're the same people who are going to lose their Medicaid, who are going to lose their Medicare. So you saying you merely disagree as if we talking about who's the GOAT of basketball or some stupid shit like that, some really non-important issue is really dumb. When they cut federal jobs, which like 13% of federal jobs are employed by African Americans. So when they cut them federal jobs and them people can't work, when the Department of Education get cut and all this stuff, and all these things are affecting your people, this family that you're talking about, that you don't want to be called out in front of, all these decisions are affecting them. So what you saying? You gonna get up in their face this summer at the family reunion and be all smiley, happy, hee, key, while their legs finna get cut off from under them because you disagree politically? The fuck out of here. So anyway, I told him, hey man, you said that I ain't sent you nothing on the low. Scroll to April 15th. Two separate videos. So here's my point on that. He never answers the question. So even he accused me of not coming to him on the low. I came to him on the low. I showed him. He didn't say anything about me coming to him low. He didn't acknowledge what I said at all. He's just going to something else. I say come to me in terms of talk to me about how you feel over text, not over some Facebook. Clearly, you had to stay. You had to say over Facebook to me that could have been addressed on one. That's my point. Here's what I said. This is your get down. You agree with deporting people, even U.S. citizens, which is an oxymoron because by definition, American citizen being deported is actually importing them to a foreign land. And then when I told him that he would say, oh, what's this fear mongering? I don't have to explain myself to you. I'm a conservative. Now I'm kind of, I'm telling you this how his get down. I'm telling him this how his get down is. Okay, I said, okay, cool, but do you agree this is a problem? Because conservatives tend to love the Constitution. Here's what he would say. Again, I'm being facetious about it, but facetious, but really straight up. I don't have to explain myself to you. I have a different opinion. Okay, what is that opinion regarding this subject matter? That's fear mongering. You're trying to put me out in front of family. I said, how do you know all these individuals facing deportation? He asked me, how do you know all these families facing deportation are American? You know them personally? And then he goes, Obama has some of the biggest deportations ever, and nobody says a word. So what I told him was, I said, people call Obama the deporter in chief. Google it. We did say something. Now he did do it legally, but we called him the. How can you get a name, the deporter in chief, and ain't nobody talking about it? Again, is there any acknowledgement to say? Because you put the shit out there to say, hey, Obama, 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 and when I say, yeah, you're right, and they called him the deporter in chief. You ain't got shit to say. See, again, I'm going through this shit. You ain't got shit to say. You don't acknowledge none of it. You want to get your point across, but then you don't want to say shit when you get pushback. So anyway, that's kind of I think I'm gonna stop it right there on that. Uh we he got to talking about motherfuckers with tattoos and shit. Abreu Garcia said that he was a gang member and tattoos and shit like that. Uh it was just oh, here you go. I didn't just vote for illegals to be removed from my country, but that was motivation due to the fact of what's happening in my own home city of Springfield. Really? When I was at the reunion, one of my own family from there was telling me about how geese and animals were getting killed. Oh yeah, this is Abrego Garcia. He's an MS-13 member and had the exact 13 tattoos on his finger. 13 tattoo on his finger. That was a lie. And then he got into this both parties exaggeration. Anyway, so my point is motherfuckers like that. And I said what I said because he's a grown man. So motherfuckers like that, they just won't, they're not playing with an honest hand. They're not being intellectually honest. See, it's one thing to disagree. It's cool to disagree. Like it really is. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing on certain things. However, excuse me. However, if it's a situation of where you know we can't just we can it ain't a it's not just a regular disagreement about whether slavery should be legal or not. You get what I'm saying? So, in other words, if I'm living in, the 1800s, you know, I can't have a neighbor or family member who's like, well, I just agree that states should have the right to hold slaves and sell your mother, father, sister, brother off to wherever, because that's the state's right. We just disagree politically, but we're still family and we can get along. No, if you are for the destruction of my people, if you are for the destruction of me, if you're destruction for mankind as we know it, if you're not white, then no, we ain't cool. We ain't friends. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't got shit in common. Everybody that's skin folk ain't kinfolk. So again, but that's Black MAGA again. So here's my other point on this. So and let's just talk about, so he brought up the Obama and shit like that being, and I correctly told him, hey man, the motherfucker was called deporter in chief. But when it came to getting the plane from Qatar, right? Uh Saying that, yeah, I can take this plane from a, pretty much a anti-Semitic nation, right? Uh even though they support Hamas and stuff like that, even though pardoning criminals from January 6th, 700, back at least a few weeks ago, 700 Marines, 4,000 National Guardsmen, and full military regalia, masking weapons of war on U.S. citizens, right? Pardoning the January 6th rioters, right? Like you ain't got nothing to say about that. And that's my point. You got nothing to say. And not just him again. I'm just using him as an example. But these are all these people, all these Tim Scotts, Byron Donalds, all these Negroes who was carrying all this water, and ain't now one of them got a fucking position. They ain't even got a position. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I was watching The View, and it's funny, they was talking about, you know, the Capitol, the riots and stuff like that. Well, no, no, no. They were talking about the LA thing that was going on, with ICE. And it was a little small section in downtown where, some disruption and whatnot. So then Sonny Hostin wants on the show the video of the Philadelphia community burning shit up, tearing up property and burning shit up during the Super Bowl, after the Super Bowl. So Alyssa Farrah Griffith went on and started laughing about it and made a little joke about Philly fans. Well, those fans in Philadelphia. I'm like, no, 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 no. See, that's the motherfucking problem. That's the motherfucking problem. If you standing up for your rights and some shit get tore up, then we need to bring law and order, and there's no excuse for that. When you win a Super Bowl and you tear some shit up, well, that's just how those fans are, because they're white fans. That's why. There may be some Negroes sprinkled in there here and there, but they're white folks. So you know what? Your attitude is, and white folks just go in there and tear shit up. That's just what they do. Ha ha ha. They were celebrating. Ho hum. It's Philadelphia. See what I'm saying? That's bullshit. That's intellectual dishonesty. And it's infuriating. It's infuriating. Or, like, say, for instance, this person's talking about their family members in Springfield. A lot of older people, too. So I know a lot of the people in Springfield are older. I know these people. Okay. Uh, and so when you fire the entire advisory board for the immunization department, uh, so for the young people, the older people, you gonna shit on immunizations, like that's cool with you. Uh, and and it's wild because I I used to wonder like why they would never say anything, like they wouldn't Normally, if you have a disagreement, you have some give and take. You know what I'm saying? Like I was saying before, you give people the benefit of the doubt. You think they're reasonable. So when because I know me, I don't have sacred cows. I don't have sacred cows. Okay. If you do something good, I'm gonna praise you. If you fuck it up, I'm gonna scold you. As a matter of fact, and so it is with myself. I'm not perfect. There are times I am corrected. There are times I receive new information, and I'm not sitting there holding on to it for dear life, talking about I can't let that go because if I admit to that, that means the conservatives are going to own me. No, man. I'm in this thing to get better. You know what I'm saying? I want the best information possible. So, but what this cat does and what Black MAGA does, the same thing this guy used to know back in the day. This guy knew, and I don't think he mind me saying his name. Hell, we don't talk no more, but his name was Russ. His name is Russ. I hope he's still alive, I guess. But Russ is a conservative, back in the day when I used to holler at him, it was all bushes and shit like that, wasn't tacos, it was all on the bush tip. That was during that time. And I remember having this conversation with him about the Southern strategy. Because he used to try to play me on that Republicans were really the ones that freed the slaves and that kind of shit, right? And I was like, so my guy, are you trying to say you don't know about the Dixiecrats? Or are you trying to say that you don't think I know, so you think I'm a fucking idiot, that I don't know my goddamn history? I just want to know which one, so I know from which direction we're operating here. But anyway, I read to him uh, this thing about the Southern strategy and how basically it was like, hey, sorry, some of you might not know what the Southern strategy is. I would tell you to just Google it and do your own homework, but let's see if I could come up with something quickly to make it really plain and concise. I will do that for you. Let's see. Okay. Southern strategy. Okay. So basically, the Southern strategy was okay. Here we go. This is Lee Atwater. Okay. Lee Atwater was a Republican. And this is what he said about the Southern strategy. Southern strategy in terms of winning elections, winning national elections. Okay. And so he talked about basically it's a whistle, it's an argument for dog whistling. So instead of saying calling people niggers and shit like that, you use other words. So here we go. Questionnaire. The fact is, isn't it, that Reagan does get the Wallace voter and the racist side of the Wallace voter by doing away with legal services, by cutting down on food stamps. Here's what Lee Atwater said. Y'all don't quote me on this. He said, don't quote me. Goes, you start out in 1954 by saying nigger, nigger, nigger. By 1968, you can't say nigger. That hurts you. It backfires. So you say stuff like forced busing, states' rights, and stuff like that. You're getting so abstract that you're talking about cutting taxes, and all these things you're talking about are totally economic things and a byproduct of them, that blacks get hurt worse than whites. And subconsciously, maybe that's part of it. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that if it's getting that abstract and that coded, then we're doing away with the racial problem one way or the other. You follow me? Because obviously saying around, going around, because obviously sitting around and saying we want to cut this is much more abstract even than the busing thing, and a hell of a lot more abstract than nigger nigger. So Russ told me he didn't believe that this was true. So I said to the New York Times article about it. The shit is on Wikipedia now. Okay. We didn't really have that then. But I said to the New York Times article, you know what this fool told me? I still don't believe it's true. No, motherfucker. You believe it's true. You don't want to admit it's true. See what I'm saying? And again, that's kind of what like would infuriate me. So at that point, I was like, you know what? We ain't having these conversations no more because you're not having a real conversation. You're not being an honest broker. You full of shit, and you wasted my fucking time. Uh, speaking of which, so you know how these motherfuckers always talking about too, how they into the Constitution, And again, I'm just ranting on. I'm just getting this shit off my chest. Bear with me. Bear with me. Just getting this shit off my chest. How these conservatives, the Constitution, blah, blah, blah. Well, Taco was like, that motherfucker, hey, do you need to follow the Constitution? I don't know. I have lawyers to have to tell me that, whether I have to or not. We have to see. So, and even with the fucking jets and all the goddamn gifts that all of your money is paying for, all motherfuckers mad about Medicaid, Medicare, SNAP, thinking like, you know, these poor people are taking all your money away when, okay, they bringing South Africans over here, okay, giving them full benefits, motherfucker getting a plane from Qatar, gonna use American taxpayer dollars to convert the motherfucker to go through all the security shit to make sure they ain't bugging you. If you find it, I mean, in other words, they might have some technology. I mean, look, them motherfuckers got more money than God. So they may have some technology that you ain't hip to yet to where they can spy on your ass and you don't even know it. Motherfucker talking about, it's going to my library. No, motherfucker, it's going to you. But there's something in the Constitution. Oh, no, it's not the Constitution. Is the Constitution? Is the emolument clause in the Constitution? I'm not sure. But anyway, let me read the foreign. It is in the Constitution. The Foreign Emoluments Clause found in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 8 of the United States Constitution prohibits federal officials from accepting gifts, compensation, titles, or any other benefits from foreign governments without the consent of Congress. This clause aims to prevent conflicts of interest and ensure that public officials prioritize the interests of the United States over personal gain and influence. But this motherfucker, like, why wouldn't I take a plane? Why wouldn't I take any gift? So my point is, these motherfuckers flood the zone. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it's so much shit that happened in these first several months that, like, it's almost impossible to keep up with. You know what I mean? By the time, I mean, this Carter jet thing is old news. You know what I'm saying? Most motherfuckers have forgot about that. So before we finish, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna talk about, okay, so what? That's right. Okay, so what is now open in St. Charles? The address is 3242-1 Rue Royale Street, St. Charles, Missouri 63301. All right. Okay, so what is open every day except on Wednesday and Sunday? They have specials every day, so you gotta like check on them and see what's going on. In terms of I know like the queso C is always on Fridays, which is cool. Shantae has so many flavors of quesos that you know the place ain't really big enough. They don't have the staff yet to just make them all and have them all there. So each day you got like a choice of five or six of them that you can get, right? So you can go on the website, which is quesowhat.com, QUESOWHAAT.com, and you'll be able to see what the deal is for that particular day. They do close from 2 to 4 for restocking and cleaning. Make sure all your stuff is fresh, fresh, fresh. But in addition to that, I don't want to just talk about the uh the quality of the food because I've been telling y'all about that for months. Like it's really consistent, they on point. I do want to share a testimonial though that I found that just blessed me. So let me go to that right now. let me share a testimony about Queso What that I saw the other day that I think you'll find interesting. It goes to show you that, Queso What is not just about making dollars and stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's a community organization. So hold on, let me just search for it real quick. It was a real nice testimony. Hold on a second. Oh man. I might have went to the wrong page, y'all. Give me a second. Told you we was free Willy style today, right? Well, doggone it, I'm having a hard time finding it. Let's go back. I'm scrolling. I'm scrolling. I cannot be in the right place. I just saw this a few minutes ago. Well, anyway, so it was a sister that is lives close to where the Rue Saint Royal address is, and she recently had an Achilles tendon tear. And but she really lives close. She lives 74 steps from her apartment. It's what she said from her place. And Shantae, in case of what, decided to be a blessing to her upon learning that, frequent customer comes by all the time. And so she brought her some quesos, several of them, to be a blessing. And so the sister was talking about how, I'm sorry, I can't find it. Uh, can't find it. It was there. This is technology. I don't see it. But anyway, but the sister was like, yo, it was really a blessing. She came through. I wasn't expecting this. And so she brought her like three or four quesos. One of them was a pizza. And she was like, yeah, you need to keep that one in rotation because it was very good. Uh, and I just thought that was really cool. It just goes to show you who the type of person Shantae is. Um, because again, it ain't all about just dollars and cents. It's about community. It's about a brand. It's about making people feel a part of what you're doing. So I want to commend Queso Well for that. Again, thankful that they're a sponsor of ours. So go check them out. I gave you the address. Did I give you the phone number? I got it in my phone. Just one second. Now I know I got that. Let's see. The phone number for Queso What is 314-341-7734. Also, there's always quite a few like I don't know. You have to try to get on her page because she has a special where every day as she's on her way to work, she has like a contest, like she had like a little mystery question out there. And if you answer the question, I think you get half off a queso. It's pretty cool. I guess you got to be in the area for that. So get in the St. Louis area. If you know, you know. If you need to get in touch with her on that so you can get on that list, let me know. All right. So back to the finish the subject that we have. Um, the United States is young. Uh, and I was having a discussion with a brother online the other day, a good brother who I respect a lot. And we were talking about the merits of the 4th of July, where the black people, well, well, he was more so just making the argument that despite of all the atrocities that America has been involved in all over the world for decades, excuse me, that America's still the greatest country, yada, 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 American exceptionalism. And so I pushed back on that to him. And he was even saying it like in the context for black people. So he would say, even for black people, it's still the best country in the world. And I argue with him that I believe it's a fact that any successes that black people have in America are in spite of, not because of America, right? We are the originators of starting from the bottom, now we here. You know what I'm saying? We're the originators of pulling ourselves up by our bootstraps. We're the originators, the, we're like the Little Richard, the originators of taking something or taking nothing and making something out of to it. You know what I'm saying? Making a dollar out of 15 cents. Like we're the ultimate of that. Yet, while this country is always, again, rolling back voting rights, um, again, firing federal workers, most of whom, most of the middle class historically has come from, most of the black middle class historically has come from being in the federal job market. So, when those people are now losing their jobs and then you can't get health insurance because they eliminating Obamacare pretty much, Affordable Health Care Act. And believe me, Medicaid and Medicare is it's all over the country, even those red states that vote against it because it's under another name. And they don't understand that this money is coming to help them in terms of their own health care. And so they're gonna fuck around and find out. They're gonna fuck around and find out. But it's just amazing to me. Anyway, my point back to my brother, I'm kind of all over the place now, but my point back to my brother was that, hey man, this shit is still going on. Like they still crushing us. Like quite like we're regressing, you know, uh all the way from Shelby County, in the Supreme Court, gutting the Voting Rights Act. So I mean, so we're already getting gutted. You know what I'm saying? We're already regressing back to what it was because white folks are scared of not having enough white white people to populate the United States. They don't want to be the minority. And I've even heard people say, well, they scared we're gonna do to them what they did to us. I don't believe that either. That's bullshit. Black people are the most forgiving, loving, compassionate, accepting people on the face of the motherfucking planet. Like the data proves that. You know what I'm saying? The history proves that. That's a known fact. That's our get down. No, 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 no. It's not that they're afraid of that. They just don't, they just want to be on fucking top. So it's the thought of not being on top that disturbs them. So when they talk about DEI, it's another thing like, so this same brother who I was talking about, who's the relative, he light-skinned, I guess, or mixed race. So maybe he feel like he the exception. I don't know. Maybe he ain't got his nigga wake-up call yet. I don't know. But in the eyes of the government and the police, he's a black man. So when they look at him, they're telling him, you're not qualified for any of these jobs these white folks want. And if you're there, it's because they gave it to you. You're DEI. So even as these people insult him, or maybe he's like these Latinos and Mexicans. They don't think, I think they're talking about you guys, not me. I went to a very nice school. Anyway, so my argument to this brother, and as I close this up, is, really, it's black people who've always challenged America to be what it says it is. You know what I'm saying? Uh, it's always been us. And it's always been them who talk a good game, who talk that shit when it's convenient, but then when it come time to give authoritarian power to Taco and anything that's anti-black, again, you got if you don't understand, like this is the thing this brother used to tell me. He used to always say, the relative guy, that I was giving these extreme examples and fear mongering, right? Son, if you don't believe that ICE is the Gestapo, the secret police, then again, you don't know shit about shit about history. You don't know shit about shit about other countries. Like, it's the fucking Gestapo. No name tags, mask over their face, picking up, no warrants, just picking motherfuckers up off the street, shipping them on planes, no due process. I'm sorry, is that not alarmist enough? Oh, no, 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 no. You're waiting on this to happen to someone you love. That's what it is. Ah. Anyway, see, I grew up, y'all know I grew up reading newspapers, watching documentaries, reading books, anything I can get my hands on, you know, to learn. And so the shit ain't past me. Like, I've already seen the decline of American exceptionalism in America as a kingdom, if you will, as an empire. It's over, Jack. It's over. There is no more Constitution. I mean, look, even when the lower courts ruled some shit that's really constitutional, Supreme Court be like, no, man, fuck it. No, we say let the motherfucker have his way. Now they were spending 8 years reeling in Biden. You know what I'm saying? We reeling in this motherfucker. I'm sorry, 4 years reeling in Biden. 8 years trying to reel in Obama. With this motherfucker Taco, they giving him everything he want. Uh, and but the United States is so isolated from knowledge, from information, because they're watching the news, they're watching TikTok and shit like that, that they don't fucking go to the library. I mean, you ain't got to go to the library now you can Google the shit. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna tell you something, a secret about that. Notice how now you start putting some stuff in to the Googles, and it's gonna give you an AI generated answer. So for instance, I put in the other day, how many white people have been, let's do it right now. How many white people have been deported? Because they say it ain't about race, it's about how many white people have been deported. Here's the AI overview. Deportation statistics are not typically categorized by race. Therefore, it is not possible to determine how many white people have been deported. Immigration and Enforcement, ICE, data primarily focuses on the number of deportations and the nationalities of those deported, not their race. So, and here's what it says at the bottom. This is again AI. This is what got me. Deportation decisions are based on immigration law violations, not racial or ethnic background. So you see, the AI is already changing the narrative. See, so now you got to dig a little deeper because the AI is already changing the narrative on why they picking motherfuckers up. You think that Mexicans and Latinos are the only ones in this country illegally? And a close friend of mine, we were talking the other day, and was like, yeah, they down with them, they are focused on the southern border. I'm like, dude, they picking motherfuckers up in New York, in Oregon, and Washington State. That ain't the fucking southern border. They just looking for brown people. And trust me, this is my guy I'm talking about too. So he knows what I'm talking about. But I can see it in his face and in his tone that he's still having a problem like wrapping his brain around the sheer intentionality of a Stephen Miller and what he set out to do. So, and I get it. I understand. But I'm like, dude, it's all in your face, man. It's all in your face. And the same shit that's happening now happened to the Jews in Germany, in Eastern Europe, Western Europe. It was the same thing. It was subtle. Like they had them a little secret police before the Gestapo really got kicking. They had a little police that said that, hey, these laws, there are laws, right? There are laws, but we're only going to force laws on certain people. So these other people, we're not going to force these same laws on. Like, so that's what's going on now with immigration and ICE and all that kind of stuff. They ain't deporting no South Africans, no fucking Polish, no Italians, no Norwegians, right? No, man. If you brown, get down. If you're black, get back. And so, and they telling it to you. Like, go back to the Southern strategy. Go back to the Southern strategy. Matter of fact, they kind of beyond the Southern strategy now. Like, they just throw the shit out there for you. Now they just throw it out there in your face. Anyway, I'm gonna close this on that note. I'm hoping that this will be, since I got this off my chest and I've said these things out loud, finally, that when I see all the shit that's being done, that I don't think about the black MAGA anymore. That I don't think about all the shit that they deny. Because again, here's what kills me. I don't know if I said this already, but I'm gonna say it as a final caveat. If these motherfuckers was really about the Constitution or being conservative or whatever the case may be, right? If they really loved America and those American values, yada, 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 that they say they believe in, and they say, it ain't about race, yada, blah, blah, blah. Well, if that's the case, there's surely some of this shit that has been done in your name by Taco, you would not only disagree with, you would speak up about. So you may have been happy that Taco is in office, but surely you don't agree with every single thing. Like there has to be something that you're like, yeah, I mean, that's kind of fucked up, right? But if you don't believe it's fucked up, then that means you are really a sorry, no count, no ethics, no morals cult follower. You are in a cult. But if you're not in a cult and you can say, ha 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 ha, make America great again, I'm so glad about this election in public, but then can't criticize nothing in public, then you are a coward. So which is it? A cult or a coward? Not just talking about this one person. I'm talking about Black MAGA, period. Shit. Latino MAGA. Any of you motherfuckers that ain't white and who don't just hate anybody that's not white. Like if you that person, I understand. He doing everything you want him to do, including taking shit out of your pocket. But again, because you get the trade-off of being better than black folks in your mind, then you're good with it. Like Sun Tzu said, an evil man will tear shit up to ruins just so he can rule over the dust. You know what I'm saying? So if that's you, right? Some white folks are like that. As long as I feel like I'm better than the best black man in the world because I'm white, I'm willing to hold on to that. Damn it, that's good enough for me. If that's you, that's you. But anything else? No, man. No, man. Uh-uh. No, 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 no. So that's that. You write your own check. You decide your own fate. You are who you are. And don't be mad at a motherfucker like me for telling you you are who you are. Don't hate the player. Don't hate the information. you know? It is what it is. Own that shit. Say that shit with your chest out and don't be a fucking coward. That's all I got to say about that. Anyway, thank you for joining us. We'll be back with another episode. We do got some more episodes. I actually got like four other episodes that I'm ready to take. I already took notes on. Got some guests I'm trying to get. Hope that works out too. But man, I hope to give you some more content and everything won't be so heavy as this, or be a little bit more organized, and won't be ranting and stuff like I am now. But I just had to get this shit off my chest. So if you feel me, you feel me. Otherwise, thanks for joining me. Subscribe, like, share, do what you do. Appreciate the support, and y'all stay safe. Peace.